What's up, everybody, and welcome to Boom Busters. I'm your boy Ace,
I'm Brady.
And I'm Vlad.
and we are the Boom Busters. On today's episode, we are busting on summer vacation. Summer vacation is a time of fun, no school, freedom, cool shows, hanging with friends. But, that's kind of my interpretation of summer. I got two guys that kind of lived in different areas than me. So I want to start out with my big dog, Brady. Look, Brady, when did summer kind of officially start for you? What time frame is that for you?
Man, it's kind of weird because we didn't have like summer baseball. It was more like, kind of like spring baseball. And so when you get to that last week, when you get into like the championship games and stuff, that's also kind of the last week of school, because everybody back then they dispersed. So it was hard to keep the teams together going into June. So we would have those last games like the last couple of weeks of school. So that's kind of when it started. We'd already had like our toss test, we're from Texas and that was an old school test back in the day. Um, we had already had basically our 6 weeks grades, that kind of thing. There might have been a couple of exams, just kind of depending on, whether it's elementary or high school or middle school days. But, you go into that last week and it's a lot of sitting in class watching, movies like The Incredible Journey or, some Disney flick, throughout some of your different classes because the teachers, they were already mentally on summer vacation by then.
Wait a minute. So is this the last day of school or is this summer school for you?
No, dude, I mean, I never went to summer school. Nah, I went to lunch.
He just
Yeah.
never left school because he needed it.
I see that now.
But yeah, it kind of started that last week. You started getting in that vibe. The teachers, like I said, were already in that vibe, getting ready for it. And your parents are like, oh gosh, kids are gonna be home all day. I got to get like Lunchables or kids cuisines. Little frozen pizzas and stuff because they're gonna be home all day.
What about you, Vlad? When does summer officially start for you?
As soon as that bell rings, all the papers are flying and it's a complete mess. And shout out to all those school janitors and
They
custodians
don't
all
get
over the
paid enough.
world.
They do not get paid enough.
Thank you for your patience. You did not deserve a lot of the flack that we gave y'all, and you guys were the true backbone of every school district.
Like Mr. Johnson on Abbott Elementary.
Hey, shout out to my guy Barry at LISD. You know. But yeah, no, that final bell rang, man, and for someone like me, it's baseball just continues on. So it's out of one league, go on to the next one. So it's just nonstop.
All right. Well, Vlad, I got to start with you on this one. I'm kind of very interested because I know you didn't grew up, in the same area we did. But what was typically the first thing you would do on the first day of summer vacation? What does that look like for you?
Staying up late, getting up late, hang out with the friends before it happens in life, you move away. So you just give you that last hurrah with your buddies. B, they go away for camp and they're out and they're gone for several weeks, or they travel abroad elsewhere for the summer, or if they're still around, just get on to I like this term, adventures.
Adventures.
Just dude, the world is your oyster. It's 12 weeks of immortality. You got no school. If you got any sports obligations, you do them. But after that, I mean, it's game on. It's anything goes.
So no summer school for you, huh? No.
Absolutely not. I had to I had academic requirements to be on the team. You know what I'm saying? B average. They did not accept C's where I was. They had to be a B average.
All right, Brady. What does that first day of summer look like for you?
Before I talk about that, I do want to elaborate on something that he said, seeing these people before they run off. I don't know if this ever happened to y'all because, you live in the day of social media, some of y'all growing up. But back in the day, you would have like that last day of school, there'd be somebody sitting in a desk next to you, and then you come back to school in the fall, and that kid's not there anymore. They moved during the
They
summertime,
didn't, yeah,
and you don't know where they went.
like
'cause-
Disappeared.
you know that you know that's Timmy's seat right there. Tim sits there, but when it comes back into the fall, Timmy's not there anymore.
yeah,
He didn't
so,
say nothing.
so yeah, like
One last thing. I'm sorry. At the last day of school, did y'all have did they ever sign on the shirts?
T-shirts.
The
Oh, man.
T-shirts thing, did they do that?
I didn't do that, but we had our annuals and stuff, so we would get our yearbook signed and all that kind of stuff. So have a great summer. Hey, holler at me or let's party this summer. That kind of stuff. That was mainly in high school.
Lose my number, whatever they put
Yeah,
in there.
we did not have yearbooks in any school that I've ever attended. It was always the shirts.
Yeah, there were kids that did the shirts. It was mainly like females that did that in my school. So the guys, we didn't really do that. It was
Gotcha.
But so my first day, of summer vacation, it just depended on what era it was, whether it was, the elementary school era or it was the high school or junior high era. It was a lot of, staying up a little bit later, that first night for sure, depending on which era it was. And staying up late, getting up the next morning and, eating some cereal, eating some junk food throughout the day, going swimming in the backyard. We had an in the ground pool with a slide and diving board.
Ooh.
So it was like a little resort in the backyard, but I also live right next to the high school where I grew up, and so I had access to the tennis courts, basketball goals, the football field, all that kind of stuff. I'd ride my bike all over town. I grew up in a small town where you didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. I also grew up in a decade where you didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff either. So it was nice having, the whole world as my playground, and those are, some of the things that I would do on that first day is just explore, try and do it all in one take. But at the same time, I would reminisce. I know it sounds weird, but I would even get out like my old schoolwork, even like my Trapper Keeper and my backpack, and just look at some of the stuff throughout the year. Because that last week, I wasn't trying to do that. I was just trying to have fun with my friends. But I would do that like that first day of summer vacation and see some of those grades or some of that artwork and stuff that we brought home. The things that were on the wall throughout the year that you finally got to take home in a little box. At the end of school. So
My takeaway from this is that you had a pool in your backyard.
that's all you heard out of that. That
I mean, clearly we're from two different tax brackets. We had the local YMCA, which is definitely another future episode. We talk about that, but more definitely. But you know what, Ace, what was your summer looking like?
Oh, my summer, man. Look, I grew up in the era of two-a-days. So you get out of school, maybe a week or two later, you're back on the football field. So that's pretty much me. I was a sports guy, so that's me.
You always made time and found time to do something. But yeah, for us, you were in football, I was in baseball. So, a lot of those weekends, at least for me, were pretty much booked, so to speak. So there wasn't really much television or game watching or whatever. So actually, you know what? In the summer, what I did most than any other time of the year, actually go to the movies. Go to the movies and go to the movie theater and watch whatever summer film is hot at the moment and whatnot. I think I for definitely did more theater in the summer than I did actually.
I'd go rent a movie down at the local, you know,
Video
rental,
store?
video store.
Yeah, okay.
I'd go rent one there, and it costs like $1 for a day.
Mhm.
So I'd rent that. They might have like WrestleMania, 4 or 5 or 6 or
For $1.
The Coliseum tapes.
yeah, the Coliseum.
Did you
tapes.
ever get your free gift?
I did not, but I have some of those tapes now. As an adult. But so I'd go rent a movie or something like that, and then I'd stop by the Dairy Queen, get a cone, and ride my bicycle back while I'm one hand in the handlebar and the other hand holding that cone and eating that on the way back. And so I enjoyed that, and go watch my movie and then play some video games. Which I say video games, it was a Nintendo back then for us, and so I'd play games like Mario 2 and see how many times I could beat it throughout the summer. Willow,
That was also a good time to kind of play video games and see how far you can go, how quick you can beat it, or so on and so forth.
Play board games, with siblings is another thing you could do. Or the kid across the street, him and his siblings, playing board games with them. Of course, you're always missing pieces and stuff. That's a whole nother.
All those Christmas gifts finally get put to use. like a lot of those get put to heavy use. If it's
Take them out the box, boys.
like a remote control toy car.
Now, did you ever get bored in the summertime? Like Ace or Vladimir, did you ever get bored to where you wanted to go to work with your parents?
I don't
Absolutely
know.
not.
I don't know about that, but I could tell you, August, you started kind of getting I wouldn't say the blues, but you start seeing the same routine and all that stuff, and like it does get repetitive, and you kind of want to be eager to go get back to school.
Well, like my mom was like a home health care nurse, so she
Mhm.
would go see multiple patients throughout the day. So I would take like my headphones or something like that, or a book, and I would just go with her and sit in the car while she's seeing patients and stuff. And so that was my way of just getting out of the house and just not being stuck in the same small town I was in for the entire summer. So that was one of the things that I did too, was just go with her to work and just chill. Come to find out, she ate pretty good while I'm eating bologna sandwiches at the house. So
Crazy.
yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, but you did all right for yourself.
Oh yeah. I mean, I still do the same thing now with mine.
You're still eating bologna?
No, I eat out whenever I'm working sometimes, so
Ah,
it's all good.
perks.
But I know you're talking about a lot of things that you do kind of in your home area. Did your family ever go on like any trips during the summer? Can you remember any times? I'm gonna start with you, Vlad. Did you go anywhere with your family on a vacation?
We did. I grew up in my early childhood. I grew up in Anaheim, California. So that's pretty much where Disneyland is at. And there's also Knott's Berry Farm and Six Flags
On the
Magic.
beaches.
You can go on the beach, but for me, the beach was more in Puerto Rico when I moved out there. But in Cali, we always did the theme amusement park. We did like one or two. Let it be mostly Knott's Berry Farm and Six Flags. Usually, Disneyland for us would be like a Christmas thing. For us, that's what we normally did for a Christmas tradition, was go to Disneyland. So we did the amusement park. You know, uh, and since we had the passes for living in the state, sometimes it was not with your folks; it could be with your friends. So it's like we did that mainly, and probably go go to the shopping mall, as a family, have a whole day of shopping day and go across town and do stuff. That's pretty much it.
Brady, what about you, man? I know you look like a guy that just was ready to go everywhere. Where'd you go, man?
Dude, I'm gonna say like one of the most white bread things you're ever gonna hear.
Not the white bread.
We used to go to Colorado on summer
Bro, you went to
vacation.
the snow for the summer?
Yeah, I mean, there was snow definitely on Pikes Peak. There was a blizzard one time on July 4th of all days. There was actually a blizzard on top of Pikes Peak. So we only got to stay up there for like 10, 20 minutes before they made us go down the train, or we'd be stuck up there, for most of the night. But
Ain't no way.
Mile High.
we would go to Colorado, usually around like Cripple Creek, Woodland Park area, Manitou Springs, Colorado Springs. My grandparents, they would spend the entire summer up there, because it's not hot. It's cold. It rains a little bit up there during the summertime, but it's usually around 70. It'll drop down to like 50, sometimes maybe 40. But they were campground hosts, and they would go stay at this RV park for the entire summer. It was beautiful up there, and their job was just to help greet people and sometimes work in the little gift shop they had there. And so that's what they did to pay for their spot all summer. And so they enjoyed that. We would go up there, take our travel trailer, and we would pull in next to them for a week or two, and we would go do all the things like go to the North Pole Santa's Village they had up there, to uh, we would go ride the slides down the mountains and go to some of the Indian or Native American reservations.
Out of curiosity, what was the weather like during those peak summer times?
I mean, it could be 75 on down to like 40, just depending on
Yeah,
what the
because of the
weather
high
was like.
altitude and all that stuff. So
Man, it was great. And even one summer we went up there and we didn't take the RV. We took a flatbed trailer and we took both four wheelers with us, and we were camping in a big tent at one of the national parks, and we rode the four wheelers up and down the mountains. And I remember this one spot, I'll never forget it. It was up in between some different mountains, and it looked like you were in Ireland. It had like this flowing little river coming from the ice up top, and there were big rocks and stuff that you could sit on. We were eating summer sausage and cheese and crackers, and drinking Dr. Pepper, and just enjoying this grassy knoll up there. It was so awesome.
Is that your motherland, Ireland?
I wish. I wish.
Really? Browns are not Irish?
No, it's more of a German name.
Ooh. Anyways, no, but four-wheelers and all that stuff. See, I'm telling you, it's different. You had a pool in the backyard, had 4 tracks, had an RV. What were your folks doing? What do they do for a living?
One was a nurse. Oh, my dad was a foreman.
Ace, what did you do besides? Do you go on any trips with your folks?
Dude, I'm so sorry.
No. Leave it on there because this is all natural right here. Look, listen, we are human. We bleed red, and we go through stuff in life.
We work in wrestling, and I got what you call the locker room colds,
Locker
ladies
room
and gentlemen.
cold.
So that's why I'm coughing. I had the locker room cold from this past weekend.
So with that being said, Ace, what was your family traditions in the summer?
Man, so my family's from Houston, so we'd go down there all the time.
H-Town.
So yeah, man. My family's from Sugarland, so we'd always, we right next to Galveston. Go fishing trips and everything. Used to go fishing with my grandpa. Man, we'd even drive down to San Antonio sometimes. You have Fiesta, Texas. Six Flags over there. So much fun. That's what I enjoyed. Get to go to SeaWorld, all that stuff around there. So.
I don't know why he's laughing about you are going to Sugarland.
Not going from. Anyways,
Look at that.
did y'all go to SeaWorld down there in San Antonio?
SeaWorld, yeah, man. Yeah.
We had one in San Diego. I never went ever. I've never been to SeaWorld
Y'all
in my
had
life.
Shamu in San Diego, didn't you?
Even Keiko, aka Free Willy. But no, I've never been to a SeaWorld ever. Orlando, San Antonio, never.
That kind of brings up another point, or another thing to talk about is we would go on some Friday or random Tuesday or something like that to Six Flags in Dallas, and
For
do
peanuts.
that. For peanuts.
For
Yeah.
peanuts.
Yeah, for peanuts. Like you barely had to pay. Like it was cheap.
Oh yeah. I thought just
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, we would go out there and we would have fun, spend the entire day. There was no fast passes back then. You literally had to wait in line the whole day. And back then I was a kid and I was a lot skinnier and it wasn't as hot for some reason.
That I do concur because Six Flags over there in Arlington, man, it is very unforgiving in those summer times. Oh my word.
Texas is just so overpopulated. It's crazy every time you go there.
It's gotten worse.
But yeah, moving on. Is there any certain? Yeah, I know for me, I love sitting on the couch and turn on the TV. Was there certain TV episodes or maybe summer specials or even a movie that just screams summertime? Vlad, I'm gonna start with you, dude, because I'm very interested. Again, you're a California kid, so you might have a different look on things than us Texas boys. So what was your thing on TV?
I mean, where I lived in California, it was very Disney oriented. So it was whatever Disney animated film that came out at the time for starters. And a lot of those live action sports movies, like you got Sandlot, The Mighty Ducks, The Big Green. Like like for us, it was sports, very sports, Disney and all that stuff. So watch The Mighty Ducks, watch all 3 of them. It was always like a tradition for us. And like I mentioned you earlier, like whatever box office hit was at the time during that time period was definitely what we would go actually to the theater and watch.
We would watch some movies we probably shouldn't watch, like Friday. As a teenager, we were watching Friday. We were watching The Program. I don't know if you've ever seen that football movie. One of the best football movies about collegiate football ever. We used to watch that. We read that all the time, man. Where we were just watching it and watching it and watching it.
You mentioned something like that, and now that something just dawned on me. That was like one of that period too was also the times where you kind of saw TV with your folks the most during that time as well. And that was like one of the few times that I was allowed. First, I wasn't had much restrictions, but watch HBO with your folks because HBO back in the day was grown ups, strictly grown ups, and you had a lot of grown up films going at the time. It's softened up over the course of the years, but it was always notorious to be very mature themed. A lot of rated R stuff going on during that time.
Oh yeah, I mean there are things that I probably should not have seen, and even stand up comedy I probably
I
should have
think
seen.
the most kid allowed, it was because for what it was Jurassic Park. But even then, that is considered a sci-fi horror flick if you actually dig deep into it. But movies like Speed, a lot of like those action films like True Lies
Good
and
one.
all that stuff was definitely like the time you can kind of get away with it with your watching it with your folks.
But I would catch up on some of the shows that I might have missed throughout the year because of either having sports or tennis or band or something like that going. Especially in my teenage years, they would show the reruns of shows that were on during the fall and spring. So you're catching up on some of those that you missed because we didn't have TiVo or DVRs back then, or
Did
we
you
couldn't stream it. Or
did you get the blank tape and hit record and just let it record?
I really didn't even learn how to do that till I was probably an adult. But so I would just, I'd make sure I was kind of home, in the evenings and stuff like that. Whenever like the Wonder Years came on, to make sure that I got caught up on something like that. Or so
One feature that always fascinated me was like you put the tape in the VCR, you start recording, you turn off the TV, it's still recording.
that's
Really?
cool.
Yeah, it still records whatever channel
It's that
you leave it on.
coax
Yeah.
cable.
That's pretty cool.
You know what a coax cable is, Ace?
You're
Coax-
sure right. Is
Coax
that-
cable?
Coax cable.
talk to Brady.
No clue.
Coax cable was the center. It's like a little cable with like a little pin that's screwed in the back of your TV. That's where the magic came from the cable company or for your antenna,
Mhm.
and that's what we record directly in your VCR. So
Huh.
it's pretty cool.
You
Didn't
could
even have to have the TV on like you said.
Yeah, see now I'm 2 days old when I just found out about that. I always been fascinated about it, and I know the source of it.
So what else you got for us on summer vacation?
Man, look. My thing as a kid, I went to cowboy camps during the summer. So any kind of summer, camp theme, whether it's,
I don't
maybe
see
I'll-
Ace riding a horse.
look, man, I'm Texan, through and through. I loved it, man. So what did y'all do? Did y'all go to any camps or anything like that? Start with you, Brady.
I went to Boy Scout camp a lot, especially when I was in like elementary and middle
Of course
school.
you did.
I am an Eagle Scout, and also I went to church camp. Whenever I was in my teens, and both are two different types of camps. One you're there to get merit badges and to learn different things, and then the other one is about coming together as a group of teens and learning about God and learning some very good fundamentals about life and stuff like that. So that's what I did. Church camp was here in East Texas, down at Lake Murtville. And not church camp, but Boy Scout camp was. And then church camp was usually up at Ouachita Baptist University up in Arkansas.
And you probably got like 2 badges, right? That's about it.
Nah, dude, I have a ton of badges. And once you're an
You
Eagle
can't
Scout,
even tie your shoe. What are you talking
no,
about?
I can tie my shoe. Whenever you're
You
an
still
Eagle
wear
Scout,
Skechers, dude.
when
Come
you're an
on
Eagle
now.
Scout, you're always an Eagle Scout. But it was a blast, doing that kind of stuff. I won first place in archery. I kid you not. There was a kid. He came in. He was kind of, I think he was like a foreign exchange student from Korea, and I kid you not, he had his own recurve bow that had like it looked just like one of the guys from the Olympics. And I'm using the
He
one.
was groomed.
I'm using the one from Boy Scout camp that they hand us that looked like it's been there for 20 years, and I beat this kid for first place in archery.
It was rigged.
Oh, that kid got immediately disowned.
It was rigged.
He got disowned right after.
But he was a really nice guy, and he shook my hand. He got second place, and it was very close. But I mean, it's just I learned how to use that bow and arrow while I was there that week. That old ratty one that they gave me. So
Well, Vlad, what about you, dude? Come on, man. What you got, dude?
Day camp.
Day camp.
Day camp. Honestly,
Daddy
like
daycare.
yeah, because with all the baseball expenses, I really couldn't afford to go like out there in the wood, cabin in the woods, and all that stuff. Do that whole experience.
Scary movie.
So it was always day camp. By the local the city that's sponsored by the city and all that stuff. But it was always fun. I remember in one year we did the day camp, and then I did like a karate during that year, and
So you're a karate kid.
yeah, I was a karate kid briefly for all probably 10 months of it. I went to a yellow belt, and I went no further than that, and I'm okay with that because honestly, I did not adhere to the rules. But
Did you ever go to like vacation Bible school? Because that's kind of a summer thing. Ace, I know that you participate and help out with some vacation Bible schools, and your girls are getting old enough to probably go to some.
Yeah, man, it was a good chance to kind of connect with the kids. They're outside of school, so you kind of bring them back in, teach them about God and everything. It's really cool. I really do enjoy it.
honestly, I did not have any church like Bible anything like that during the course of the summer. My folks weren't really deep into church and all that stuff but that I really wish I could have had more of that. Could definitely like I've heard nothing but great things, you know.
I've known people that will take their kids to multiple vacation Bible schools because it's almost like a babysitter for some of these parents.
Free childcare.
Yep.
Wow.
Like this Baptist church is having it this week, then this Methodist church is having this week, then this
Sign
church
them up
in
all
Christ.
summer. Let's
Like,
line
like
them up.
they go to all the different vacation Bible schools, and hey man, I mean you can't get too much Jesus, but at the same time, there are some that will take advantage of that and use that like Asa says some free daycare throughout the week.
It's crazy, man. But look, I want to wrap things up with this final question for the two of you. You lived in the 80s and 90s. Summer sounds really great from what you guys told me. But if you could do anything different, go back in time, anything different, what would it be? Brady?
Man, without incriminating me and my friends, I wish I could go back and record a lot of that stuff and take more pictures from back in the day, and so I could reminisce a little bit better than the fuzzy memories that I have of summertime.
Sounds like a Bad Bunny song, huh, Vlad?
Oh yeah. But for me, I would have told Miss Vicky that she was cute and she was the bomb at the time.
The bomb.
The bomb.
The
The
bomb.
bomb. Probably nothing
That's a
would
compliment, back in the day.
yeah, no, probably nothing would have came from it, but but I've learned over as I grown up that that shoot your shot, live. Don't be afraid of taking risks cuz life in general is a risk. If you just stay it cooped up into your own worries and anxiety, I mean, the years are going to pass by you and indiscriminately you're going to be left behind.
All right. We're gonna put this out there for all of our watchers to put in the comment section. So I don't want you to answer this right now because I'm curious myself, and whoever wins this is gonna earn a prize. How old do y'all think Vladimir was when he wanted to shoot his shot with Miss Vicky? Put that in the comments, and we'll find out later on.
Right on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was us busting on summer vacation. I hope you're having a great summer vacation right now. And the only way that you can make it better is to tune in each week to Boom Busters as we bust on something every week. Check out our shorts that we have online too as well. And go ahead and hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Let's enjoy it.
Smash that subscribe button.